years, they battled on the college gridiron, fighting for glory, etching their names in history, chasing that elusive dream, a chance to compete for the Rivals Cup. And now, right now, that dream becomes a reality. Tonight, destiny calls. 224 of the best college players in the country stand on the doorstep of immortality, ready to cross that threshold into the hallowed halls of the Football Rivals Pro League, where legends are forged and destinies are defined. 32 new teams, 32 new rivalries, 32 new dynasties to be built. The road to greatness starts right now. Welcome to the first ever Football Rivals Pro League Draft. The first steps to immortality. There's a storm of talent headed this way. Are you ready for it?
The Canton Crush are on the clock.
And just like that, we are live here at the draft. Welcome. Got Commissioner Chris back, myself, Doug Baxter, and all of you hanging out in the chat.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's awesome to be here. This is a year and a half, 2 years in the making, and I couldn't be more excited to be here. Baxter,
It's
great
time.
to have you here.
It's time,
It's great
man.
to have you, all the guys in the chat here. I mean, we're at 9 or 10 strong right now, so
We got coaches in the chat, we got players in the chat, and right now, Canton Crush is about to make the pick. Here we go.
With the first pick in the first ever
Skip
Football
Lloyd calling the
Rivals Pro
picks
League
here.
Draft, the Canton Crush select quarterback Jimmy McNamara.
Oh, and no surprise, Jimmy Mack going first. What do we think of that, Back?
I mean, everybody knew this was going to happen. Stein, you're not shocking anybody. Yeah, I mean, McNamara he's a generational talent, man. He led
Congrats.
year one, and I mean, year one he led A&M to the Natty. They won. Year two he transferred to Georgia, so Nickel Banks could come in, but I mean, didn't live up to the hype there. But he's going to be a 5 to 10 year guy.
So what do you think with the strangers then? Are they going edge rusher here? Got a guy like Brandon Smith?
I mean, they've been scouting Brandon Smith pretty heavy.
Let's see. Here we go.
Second pick in the first round.
Bill Turner,
the
maybe.
Austin Stranger select Sean Smith, wide receiver.
Whoa. Sean Smith
Wide receiver from
at receiver. Didn't they just trade their second pick in the draft for DeAndre Flowers?
that's a pretty big shock there. I was not I didn't see that coming.
Okay. Strangers making a strange pick to start the draft.
I mean, they're living up to their name, and I mean that opens the door for the grunge. I mean, not every mock, but most mocks and most guys had them getting Brandon Smith.
With the third pick
Yeah,
in the
let's
first
see who we
round,
got
the
here.
Portland Grunge select Brandon Smith.
Oh, and there it is. There he is. Brandon Smith going
With a
third
get-up.
overall. Wow.
Brandon Smith from Florida State, man, he's a beast. He is gonna just demolish defenses or demolish offensive line at that defensive end spot.
That's interesting. So we got Smith and Smith, not the Smith we expected at number 2, but he still goes in the top 3 here. Wow.
Yeah, and Brandon Smith, he is in the chat, so congratulations. And
Yeah, he's getting
welcome
a boost.
to the Pro League.
That's right. Our first user recruit drafted pros. He is here, and he is going to get a boost for showing up. Good move.
Sacramento Peaks.
With the fourth pick in the first round, the Sacramento Peaks select Kyle Turner, edge rusher.
I've been told that my volume was a little low, so thanks to Clint Baker for giving me the heads up there. And another edge rusher off the board. Is this going to be a start of a run here with edge
It's like
rushers?
LSU, Will Turner, or Kyle Turner, sorry, not LSU. But Kyle Turner, he is, again, Brandon Smith and Kyle Turner, 2 great edge rushers. And here is another user GM'd team here with the Tokyo Riot.
That's right. Tony Fry has got a chance to make a statement here. Now we know he's a big fan of a couple players, but what direction is he going here at the top of the draft?
We know he wanted Turner. He was very vocal about that. So
he did want Turner.
Now.
Yeah.
So let's see where he goes. I mean, he did want middle. I mean, he wants everything. It's the first draft, right? Everybody wants everything. So he wants middle linebacker. He wants edge rusher. He wants a new quarterback.
You can't have it all. Can't have it all at the top
I
of the draft.
don't know that he goes quarterback in the first round.
Yeah, I mean,
Taking his sweet time here.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at Buck McCarthy. I know he had a really tough national championship game, but is that too high for Buck McCarthy here? Or
Buck McCarthy is a game manager.
Ooh, you heard it here first.
Pick in the first round, the Tokyo Riot select
Let's see.
Will Lane.
Another edge rusher, Will
Man.
Lane.
There you go, Will Lane. That's a great pick.
A&M.
3 in a row.
Yeah, 3 edge rushers in a row off the board here. Interesting. Really interesting. Now, I see, look, he obviously we know Fry's a big fan of A&M. But this is where I think the draft starts to get interesting. Some of those edge rushers that everybody was angling after goes. The New York Nightmare have a lot of needs. I wonder if they're going to go somewhere in the trenches, either interior offensive line, maybe D tackle because they're really hurting there. But the Nightmare figured out their quarterback, situation with Pat McCoy in free agency. So thinking maybe it's the trenches or maybe a linebacker.
Pick in the first round, the New York Nightmare select Jonathan Van.
Oh, D tackle. There you go. Our first D tackle off the board, Jonathan Van.
Yeah, Jonathan Van, defensive tackle from Michigan. He's a big player. He was a finalist Michigan, but he was a finalist in quite a few categories. So he's going to be a big name to watch. He's a big guy.
Now, is that surprising to you that a guy like Reed Brandon or even Huggins didn't go before Jonathan Van?
Huggins is he's kind of an undervalued, underrated player, defensive tackle from North Texas.
Reed Brandon out of Navy.
Brandon out of Navy, he's an undervalued player. They didn't get a lot of play time on screens.
Let's see. Oh, this has been Raheem Gold all. There you go. I was gonna say this has been mocked as Raheem Gold.
The computer was destined
all along. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the computer said Raheem Gold was going to be there in every mock draft. We had him going there. They needed corner.
Yeah, they needed corner.
I mean, he's by far the best corner in the draft. So
yeah,
he's going to be.
There's like McBride and John Poole are also good, but they're probably a clear step down from Raheem Gold.
Absolutely, and Raheem Gold is a user-submitted player also. Yeah. So congratulations to him for getting drafted. He's had 2 great seasons at Iowa, and he should be pretty dang good in the pros.
Is Raheem Gold, shout if you're in the chat because you'll get a boost to your overall.
With the 8th pick in the first round, the San Antonio Law
Who's
select
a law?
Keith Collins.
Another edge rusher, Keith Collins. Okay.
Another great pick. I mean, there's going to be no more defensive line to pick in the second round.
I thought maybe the Law would go with one of the quarterbacks just because, they've got an aging quarterback on their roster. But no, edge rushers are at a premium.
Yep. I mean, the front 7 and the front 5, front 7 for defense and front 5 for offense are going to be pretty valued here in the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Chicago football department. They could also use a quarterback. They now have veteran Leon Colvin.
With the 9th pick in the first round, the Chicago football department select Marquise McBride.
Oh, cornerback. Okay, McBride.
I mean, you got to think that maybe the Raheem Gold pulling, the trigger pull on Raheem Gold may have triggered this, but
starts the run on DBs.
Yep, just like with the defensive line and ends.
We haven't seen any offensive linemen go yet. I'm surprised we haven't seen a guy like Carlos Copeland or Jeremy Branch, one of those big tackles, go
Cronin.
yet. Cronin, yeah. I mean, Cronin's been mocked to the Bombers for basically the whole.
Yeah, he's like the Raheem Gold pick.
Yeah,
he's a bomber. Like you're going to the Bombers too.
Okay, you like the Wildcats. What do you think the Wildcats are doing here?
They need they're a team that doesn't need a lot of help in a lot of spots, but they need a lot of help in a lot of spots.
With the 10th pick
It's a good non-answer.
The Louisville Wildcats select John Poole.
And there goes Poole. Okay, those are probably the best 3 cornerbacks.
There you go, defensive back. And that was one of their. I mean, they're if you look at their roster, they're in the 80s and upper 70s. Their defensive back, and they're aging, so that was a good pick by the Louisville Wildcats.
Yeah. Okay, now here's another one of those been mocked all along. Is this?
If you've been watching anything or listening to Rivals Radio, go listen if you haven't.
That's
'cause
right.
It's a great show.
That's right. Check it out.
But if you've been listening to anything, this is the Heisman Trophy winning.
Gotta
Alvin
be,
Thompson.
right? I mean, and they also have a glaring
Yeah,
need
they
running
they
back.
need a need for running back, and he'll start most
Right,
likely.
right.
so.
I mean, they got Ryan Porter at quarterback. They just need. Let's
The
see.
Melbourne Marauders select Alvin Thompson.
There you go, Alvin
running back.
Thompson.
Alvin Thompson.
That's a great pick for Melbourne.
Yep.
Okay, any surprises? Any guys you thought would have been gone in the top 10 that are still on the board here?
I mean, you got to think. We're used to other leagues where flashy positions might be going, so it's kind of cool to see GMs picking what they actually need.
Yeah.
Because this is the first year, right? So
Yeah.
they're picking what they actually need with some offensive and defensive linemen. So, and the corners. Obviously, Jimmy McNamara, everybody knew he was going to be gone. So it'll be cool to see some skill positions start to come up.
Yeah, I would have thought maybe Smokey Smith would have gone somewhere in here in the top 10, but there's a couple teams coming up that you could easily see him get drafted to. Ooh, here we go. A division rival for the
The
Brawlers.
Orlando
I'm
Sharks
curious.
select
What are
Ed Silva,
No.
wide receiver.
That's a guy that should have gone in the top 10.
Smokey Smith's wide receiver,
Yeah.
who is also a very good kick returning and punt returning weapon. So if you haven't seen him, go watch him play in season 1 and 2. 1 was better than 2 statistically, but he was an animal in season 1. So
Yeah.
congratulations, Silva. I'll be looking forward to him catching some dimes against your guys.
Yeah,
so.
he'll be tearing up the Apex East, I'm pretty sure. Dang it.
Yeah.
That is I was kind of worrying a little bit about what the Sharks were going to do there, and that's about as bad for the Brawlers as it could have gone. All
Yeah,
right.
that was. I mean, that's
Memphis
a pretty
Mojo
good pick there.
select
Carlos
Carlos
there you go.
Copeland,
First
offensive line.
Michigan O-line. Carlos
There's the offensive
Copeland.
line. So just jump ahead for about 4 seconds. The O line from Michigan is going to be picked bone dry this
Yeah.
draft. Next draft, it's going to be Oklahoma. So if you're
Yeah.
a GM or looking to be a GM, go watch the Oklahoma tape.
That's Michigan. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm a big Michigan supporter in the college series, and we just won the national championship. Basically the offense is being picked apart except for Burt Bean.
It's going to be interesting to see Michigan have to try to bounce back next year. There's to plug Rivals Radio. There's a Rivals Radio episode that just came out about
There's
that.
a Rivals Radio episode for everything.
For
Chris.
Salt
everything.
Lake Sting
Let's see what the
select
Sting picked here.
William Tootens,
Ooh.
receiver.
Ooh, Tootens.
Yeah.
Rootin' Tootin'.
Rootin' Tootens, as Skip would say.
That's who, in my opinion, they should have been the first wide receiver gone.
With the Strangers over Silva, even.
Yeah, over Silva. I mean,
Okay.
if you're gonna, Silva should have been the first receiver
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
But if you're gonna pick a receiver that the Strangers did at pick number 2, as right now we have
Yeah.
the Pittsburgh Prowlers, Shaka Caesar,
Shaka Caesar. Where
a
you going,
user
Shaka?
GM. Let's see what he does. He is very, very detailed. So, not that that's a bad thing, but let's see what Caesar does here. He gets into the
The
weeds.
Pittsburgh Prowlers select Carlos
Oh,
Brewer, edge rusher.
Great pick.
That's a great pick.
That's a phenomenal pick for the very first pick of the Shaka Caesar era.
Yep.
Wow.
Carlos Brewer he's an animal. I believe he was from UCLA out there.
Man,
no.
yeah, and he can play D end. He can play
Yeah.
off-ball linebacker. He's like a freak athlete.
He can put his hand down in the dirt. He can blitz from the outside. He can drop back into pressure, drop back into coverage.
I'm
Early-
curious to see what Caesar's going to do. If he's
Great
going to
pick.
make him like a wild card sort of joker player on D, or just line him up at edge and let him go.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's out on the outside or not,
The Vancouver Mammoth
or if
select
he runs a 4-3 or a
Brenton
3-4.
Branch, receiver.
Ooh, another A&M player here, Brenton Branch, speedster.
Yeah. What was his 40? Like a 4.2?
Yeah, it was insane. Like 4.2 flat almost.
He was the fastest wide receiver. He might have been the fastest player in the draft. in
And
the
that'll be
combine.
interesting because the Mammoth are really going through a huge transition. They had Schaefer, and now they're going with Andy Lilly, who's basically the lowest rated starting quarterback currently in the league. I'm not sure, where he'll stack up against some of the guys that are drafted, but Andy Lilly needs all the help he can get. So getting Brenton Branch and some speed on the outside is going to be huge.
Yeah, the Toronto Blizzard here, they've been mocked to take Cameron Reed, and they've been mocked to take some other help
The
outside.
Toronto Blizzard
so
select
Let's see.
Jeremy Branch,
Ooh,
tackle.
Okay.
another, Go ahead.
Line.
Yep. Good pick there. I mean, can't go wrong with this first draft. Maybe if this is year 2 or 3 and you're picking some offensive line or defensive line, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, here's another one with with one of those teams that's been mocked a certain player repeatedly. Jimmy Black, the linebacker, and Tucson really
NC
needs a
State.
middle linebacker, so that could be another perfect marriage here.
Yeah, and NC State. I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but with the Rivals Radio podcast, they were mocking NC State players had one of the best quarterbacks, the best running back,
Tucson
and one of the
Sandstorm
best,
select.
linebackers.
There you go.
Jimmy Black,
And there you go, Jimmy
linebacker.
Black. All A's across the board except the very end there. As you saw in the top right-hand corner, they show the grades. But
Oh, Caesar might be right. Caesar's saying that he thinks Paul Pierce might actually be the fastest guy in the draft.
You're right.
He may be right. Pierce was the fastest.
from
Branch-
Southern Miss.
Branch
Yep.
was a close second, or maybe a slight distance second, because I think Pierce actually can fly. I think he has jets on his sneakers.
Yeah, from Southern Miss with Russell Watson, who's a quarterback. Be interested to see where he goes later on in the draft.
Yeah, I'm also curious when he goes.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. He could be a potential. He could go right here.
No,
He's one of
you
those.
think? Not to the
I mean,
Crusaders.
I'm not saying they need a quarterback, but
No, they got Deion Howard, right? They've got.
The
I mean,
Columbus
Howard's.
Crusaders
You need a
select
backup.
Joel Kennard, edge rusher.
Oh, edge. That might be the last decent edge, like first round talent edge.
Yep. That was a great pick. Columbus Crusaders they're going to be a hard team to pick. They made the playoffs in the 0 year, the build up year that we had to get this draft order established, and we'll see what happens.
Now, I think the Lions have got several options here where London could go. They need help in a few spots, but really it's probably more on defense. They've got a pretty strong offense, but they could use help along the line. They could definitely use help really in the back seven in general on defense. So I'm assuming this is going to be a defensive pick somewhere in here.
The London
Yeah, I mean,
Lions select Kevin Flowers,
There you go.
cornerback.
They're Flowers. Oklahoma.
Here's another user, GM, and owner here, Clint Baker.
Yep. Looking at some stats real quick. Clint Baker, I mean, the Natives are, one of my favorite teams. So they've got a great GM who knows what he's doing out there with the lumber magnet taking over.
Lumber and rugby. Yeah.
Yeah, taking over the Oklahoma City.
Is he going quarterback here? Because they basically
could.
they're ready to ship off Blair Cartwright. It sounds like wasn't there a receiver even saying before the draft like how they need to get a quarterback and they're over.
Yeah, off in the little sidebar.
Cartwright. Yeah. So you got to think. Smokey Smith. This would be a perfect place for Smokey Smith, right?
Smokey Smith, he's probably one of the better user quarterbacks that's left, and I'm a huge fan of
The
Russell
Oklahoma
Watson
City
and
Natives
Tyler
select
McKinney also. So
McKinney too.
Anthony Olson,
Oh.
offensive line.
Whoa. Going on the interior offensive line at 21 overall.
there you go. That lets you know that this is a year 1 draft.
Yeah,
Great pick by Baker. He knows what he's doing. So
Olsen probably was valued a little later. He had like a second round, early second grade on him. But if you want to build your line, go get a plug and play national champion.
yeah, Anthony Olson, that was a great pick there.
Yeah, really strong offensive lineman. He could play center or guard, really. The Railstorm up here. Curious
The
where they
Omaha
go.
Railstorm select Jamal
Yeah.
Watson,
Nice.
running back.
Okay.
There you go. Was that the running back from North Carolina?
Yeah.
Toby Fortune, who is a user-submitted quarterback who will be back next year for North Carolina Tar Heels and has brought a slew of recruits with him so far. Be interested to see what they can do out there.
Yeah.
Jamal Watson will need to be replaced. So
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be good for the Railstorm. They definitely could use an infusion of talent at the running back position. Curious what the Rhinos do here. St. Louis has got needs kind of in several spots as well. They had an okay season.
St. Louis
but
Rhinos
let's see what they
select
do here.
Reed Brandon, defensive tackle.
Okay, there you go. There's Reed
there you go.
Brandon.
Yep.
Big guy out of Navy.
Defensive tackle. He's gonna be a big stopper for. He's a good run stopper. Be interested to see what they use him at over there, if they run a 4-3 or a 3-4. That's the other thing too, right? We don't know what these guys run yet.
Right.
So
Not sure how certain teams are gonna. Do you kick Brandon out to a 3-4 D end? He's big enough to play, a nose tackle, or
but he's fast enough to move out to the edge. Yeah.
Right. So that's a good pick for the Rhinos. I'm curious what the Fury do here. They've got, a lot of talent. They certainly could have been better. They had, the 0-year MVP with Nigel Crothers at quarterback.
The
and he's
Philadelphia
getting
Fury
older.
select Michael Pete, edge rusher.
Ooh, Michael Pete. I don't know. Did Michael Pete really have a first-round grade, or is that maybe a little bit of a reach now?
That might be a little bit of a reach. There's other guys that you could have got with that pick. I mean, granted, like you said, they don't need a lot of help, but you would have thought that they'd have picked someone else.
Yeah. Now here's
And
an
you got-
interesting one with the
Yeah,
mob.
go ahead.
No, just saying with the mob in general. It's a really interesting team, super talented. Could clearly be a championship contender with Carlos Green at quarterback. Do they give
Yeah.
him more talent at the skill positions? Curious where they go here.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. The mob, they had a lot of
The Kansas
salary
City
cap
Mob
issues,
select
so it'll be
Jimmy
curious to see
Tefler,
what they do with
corner.
the rookies.
Okay, going corner. Tefler was still a first-round grade, so that
Yeah.
makes sense getting him here late in the first.
Come the Bombers, do they take Cronin?
They gotta. It's Cronin or any of the centers. They literally have no one at center.
Yeah.
Maybe a street free agent, but it's a glaring need. So it'd be a shock if they pulled a strangers and went with a wide receiver, off the reservation.
Yeah, and the Virginia Beach Bombers. I mean, what's not to like? The logo's great. The uniform's great. Town's great. Team's
Yeah.
great.
They got
Whatever they pick's gonna work out.
They got
so.
Stanley Jenkins at quarterback, who's a little sub 6 foot
The Virginia Beach Bombers
guy,
select
needs a good center in
Trey
front of him,
Cronin,
and there you go,
center.
Trey
There
Cronin.
you go, Trey Cronin.
Okay,
think
we got another
The
user
wormhole
team.
would have opened if they would not have taken him.
Yeah, who knows what would have happened there? Riot.
Yeah.
The Dukes are on the
Albuquerque
clock.
Dukes. Let's see what they do. This is a user submitted GM, so
That's right. It's,
so just pick 27 here for
GM Walt Shelby.
Walt Shelby.
See what? Well, curious what the Dukes would do here. Because they've got they re-signed
could
William
go-
Paulson, so they're set at quarterback. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say they're set at quarterback, so this should not be Smokey or McKinney or Watson or anything. So sorry, fellas, you might have to wait another drop here.
Speaking of which, Smokey is, as we just say, they're not going to take a quarterback. Smokey's showing up and says, I can't wait to see where I end up. You're getting a diamond. That's right. Spirit's still high. That's the way to be, Smokey. You're not falling out of the first round. I cannot see that happening. Duke's taking
The
a minute
Albuquerque
here.
Dukes select
Uh-oh.
Smokey
Picked him.
Smith, quarterback.
Oh! There he goes.
There you go. There you go.
Smokey Smith, welcome
Smokey
to the
Smith.
Dukes. User QB, user GM. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Highly active user. Yeah, it's good to see. Brandon Smith is too. They're both very active, but Smokey Smith is very active. They put NC State on the map, right? First year he had Alvin Thompson with the run game. Both years he had Ed Silva out there on the edge throwing dimes and just dropping bombs all year.
Wait. So what does this mean for William Paulson?
Who knows? Quarterback battle.
Paulson is definitely known as a guy who's a mentor,
The Anchorage
so maybe
Ice
they
Pack
let him sit for a
select.
year.
Mike
Who
Hilton,
knows?
tackle.
Smokey's good. He can come in and fight for a spot as the Anchorage.
Ice
there-
Pack
ooh,
taking a tackle.
there you go.
Okay.
Another tackle going off the map.
Mike Hilton. Smokey, we may have to get an exclusive interview with you and see what it's like. Tell us in the chat, Smokey, how's it feel to be the new quarterback for the Dukes? As we wait for the Firebirds here.
Yeah. Firebird, Mexico City Firebirds. They're a great team. They need some run help. They need some. I mean, they're one of those teams that they could use some help in a lot of positions. So
yeah, they could use a quarterback.
They could use a quarterback. They could use some safety help. They could use. I mean, they
The
need
Mexico
skill
City
positions.
Firebirds select Chris Bates, corner.
Okay, another corner.
Another corner. There you go. They need secondary help. And I mean that it is a need. So it's interesting to see teams taking needs over wants.
Well, and also just this draft had a bountiful amount of first round and second round cornerbacks. So
Correct.
I think some of these teams are just thinking value, got to take them where the value is. You know, don't want to reach on somebody. If you got a grouping of guys and one is clearly sticking out, you know, take them.
As the Los Angeles Reign is up here, they're taking their time. So
Yeah.
this is not a user submitted, a user ran team. So it's curious
No.
to see what the Reign are going to take.
They
here.
have also been mocked a center, I believe, because they've
The
got
Los
a great
Angeles
young
Reign
quarterback.
select Craig Patterson,
There you go,
center.
Craig Patterson, Florida State.
There you go.
Yeah,
And
they got a great quarterback, but definitely needed some more protection on the line.
yeah, and he's probably ready to get out of Florida State, as Graves and the Florida State offense just ain't it. So
Yeah, I mean, George Burrow, one of our only superstar quarterbacks in the league. He's an elite player, and now he's going to have some more help in front of him. I mean, they made it deep, clearly, into the playoffs in the 0 years, so just run it back, get some help in front of him, and run it back.
this team right here, they played the Buffalo Brawlers in the Rivals Cup for year 0, and this is another
And
one
they
of
lost.
those.
The Honolulu
This is
Surf
another one where
select
if they don't pick
Levi
the
Back,
guy they were mocked,
safety.
there you go. If they don't pick the guy they were mocked, which was Levi Back, then another alternate universe would have imploded. So great pick.
I got to make a call real quick. I'll be right back.
With the final pick in the first round, the Buffalo Brawlers select Brad Huggins, defensive tackle.
All right, so obviously very excited to have drafted Brad Huggins right there.
Yeah, this, like we were talking earlier, he was the dark horse, the underappreciated, undervalued defensive tackle from North Texas.
And we are thrilled to have him.
The Canton Crush select Josh Price,
Yeah,
Ooh.
and
linebacker.
the
All right.
Crush starting off round 2. I was gonna say, for anyone watching, we're just gonna roll right into
Yeah.
these next couple picks.
All right, I'm submitting our pick right now. Here we go. Thank you, Coach Caesar. Huggy Bear, that's a good name. Clint Baker tossed out there.
As
Buffalo Brawlers
Josh
select
Price, there you
Cameron
go.
Reed,
Who did the-
receiver.
who did the,
Yes! Cameron Reed, welcome to Buffalo.
The Portland Grunge select
another Michigan
James
player.
Richards, receiver.
The Portland Grunge has also picked their next pick.
James Richards, okay. Starting to get into maybe I just started the next run on receivers here.
Maybe.
I mean, I can't
Josh
believe
Price. To go back a couple picks, Josh Price for the Canton Crush. That's a great middle linebacker pick. For the Pittsburgh Panthers, he was a great pick.
Yeah, I'll
Cameron
be
Reed's
honest,
a great
he was
pick.
those
Go
were
ahead.
literally the next two players on our board were Price and Reed. So
Yeah, I can't believe Reed. I mean, I guess because so many trench players got drafted.
yeah.
That explains why Reed is still sitting there. But he was one of those. He should have got more value than he did. But
Yeah.
he's gonna be an animal.
Yeah, I mean,
What is his height? Like 6'6".
6'6",
Sacramento Peaks
6'6",
select
196.
Nick
yeah.
Rogers, tackle.
As the Peaks. There you go.
Oh,
The Peaks
now we
make their
got
next pick.
Tony Fry back on the clock here.
Yeah, Tony Fry, again, a user GM. Three out of the last 3, 4, 5 picks have been user GM. So
Yeah.
you're gonna start seeing a lot. The Canton Crush and the Dukes have a lot of picks.
So we've got some chat going here. We see Smokey Smith says, it feels like I was taken exactly where I need to be. I'm ready to work, and the greatness at State was only the beginning. I'm blessed. Nice, Smokey.
Very good.
Got some more commentary here. Coach Stein is excited that he got captains with his first 2 picks on offense and defense. Coach Baker wants to know, where is Reed going to be on the depth chart? He'll see
The
snaps.
Tokyo Riot
Absolutely.
select.
Let's see what the Riot
The
do
Hobbit, Johnny Hobbs, running
here. The
back.
Hobbit.
Johnny Hobbs.
The Hobbit goes to the Tokyo Riot. He's going A&M the whole draft, you think?
The national championship winning Johnny Hobbs. Johnny Hobbs.
Well,
So,
year one. Year one.
Year one national championship. Don't worry, we'll get Burt Bean his props there. But
That's
yeah,
right.
he's an explosive back. He didn't have as great of a second year as he would have wanted, but
I mean, he
Banks.
could probably start day one
Yeah.
for the Riot. I mean, they've
I
got
was gonna
Luke
say
Lindsay and some other guys.
he's always been overshadowed by his quarterbacks. So.
Yeah. Be interesting to see, how the Riot are going to handle their quarterback situation. They signed Ramon Hamilton in free
The
agency.
Nightmare select. Brandon Banks, guard.
Going
It'll be
line.
interesting there you go.
Nightmare go defensive line, then offensive line. Smart.
From the Shire to the Riot. There you go, baby. But yeah, the Nightmare there, like you said, they're flip flopping, the line spots, line theories, and that's a good pick.
I mean, Banks is a good pick. He had actually, I think, had a slightly higher grade than Olsen.
He did.
So, the fact that he was able to be picked up at 38 overall when he was, mocked in the mid-20s, that's a great value pick for the Nightmare.
Yep, absolutely. As the hoplites are up again.
Well, you can't take Raheem Gold twice, but they do need a lot of help on defense, so you got to wonder if they're going to go
The
defense
Hoplite
again.
select. Alan Wake, safety.
Ooh,
Good pick.
great pick.
Good pick. Yep.
Alan Wake is a
Michigan
lockdown
player.
safety for Michigan. That's right.
Yeah.
So we'll miss him.
So Levi Back and Alan Wake were the 1A and 1B of the safeties.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with picking either one of them. So I would say so far, the Hoplites have had one of the better drafts.
Yeah, I mean, getting Raheem Gold and Alan Wake, they're making over their secondary with guys that can start day one. Both of those guys can see the field right away.
Yep, as the Law are up next at 40.
Yeah, curious to see what San Antonio does here.
Yeah, Alan Wake, that's a great pick. He's one of those guys. If I owned one of these teams, I would have taken Wake in the first or second round.
Yeah.
The Law select. Luke Carey,
Ooh.
guard.
Oh, all my Michigan guys are just getting pulled away here.
Good pick.
Great pick. Luke Carey was another guy that easily could have gone into first or anywhere here in the front half of the second round.
Yeah, as right here you have
Stein back up.
Stein's back up. Pick 41 here for the Crush. He could go anywhere. They don't need quarterback. They don't need middle linebacker now. So I mean, be interested to see where they go here.
You go skill position.
I mean, you got to have somebody for Smokey to throw to. I mean,
Yeah, receiver who would still be there for Pat Pierce if he's looking for speed.
yep,
You
Pat
know?
Pierce is he's the burner. Pat Pierce would be good. Maybe some tight end help.
Stein says Carey was the next guy on his board, so that's probably why it's taken him a second here to make this pick.
Yeah, but yeah,
So
I
he
mean,
was wanting to
Stein-
go offensive line, it looked like.
Stein has 73 picks in
I
this
know.
draft.
He's got 2 more before I pick again.
You should have had the next guy loaded up. But yeah, Stein's doing a great job at Canton.
I mean, that team could go worst to first. I mean,
I absolutely, especially with McNamara.
yeah.
I mean,
and Josh Price, that's a steal at the top of the second round.
he is. Josh Price. Any other draft, he would have gone a top 10 pick. So.
Yeah, that's wild.
The Crush select. Malik Walker, linebacker.
Okay,
Ooh, there you go.
going linebacker there.
Linebacker. He's beefing up the back half of the front seven. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he's running a 3-4 or a 4-3 yet. So Be interesting to see what he does out there. He's obviously he went and got McNamara first pick. Now he's rebuilding that defense. So good on him.
Yeah, I mean, going linebacker 2 picks in a row. You got to assume that maybe he's going 4-3 unless Malik Walker projects to a 3-4 inside backer along with Price.
Yeah, you never know. So, or he might be going maybe for nickel help or something like that. Who knows? I don't know what. I do not know. I've tried to not look in the file and see what guys are playing yet. So
PJ Murphy,
letting
running back.
storylines come out.
Nice. That's a good pick right there. PJ Murphy.
PJ Murphy's one of the faster running backs.
Yeah.
If you didn't get to watch him play, go watch some of their games in the college season.
UCF?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was a burner back out there.
Yeah.
So
Like one of those water bug kind of backs where he just,
Yep.
flittering along the line.
what was that noise again? As the Marauders are up again, you can't top Alvin Thompson. Sorry, I got a little excited there, so the volume might spike for the listeners. You can't top Alvin Thompson. Alvin Thompson was one of the most electric players to watch last season, or 2 seasons ago.
And the Marauders are a talented team, but got to
The
wonder
Marauders
kind of where this
select
pick is going to end
David Hutton, linebacker.
up. Okay.
Hutton,
Okay.
there you go. South
Hutton.
Carolina.
That's that makes sense because I do know what the Marauders run defensively. It's a 3-4, and they have a good middle linebacker, but they only have one good middle linebacker. So,
Yeah.
getting a guy like Hutton who could definitely start. He's a Gamecock, right?
Yep, South
Yeah.
Carolina. Yep, we
Yeah.
saw him playing a lot of games in the in Southeast Conference. So
He can play. He'll be able to play.
they did survive relegation, so they're still in the SEC.
Oh yeah, there is some interesting stuff going on with relegation, right? If you listen to that most recent Rivals Radio episode.
The Sharks select
Orlando's
Malcolm
pick is
Cummings, corner.
Oh, Malcolm Cummings. I completely
go.
forgot about him. I
Yep.
thought he was going to be gone in the first round.
That was a good pick.
Yeah.
As in the chat, I see Coach Stein. With only 3 linebackers on roster, Malik will fill a big need. So
Okay, makes sense.
yeah, it'll be cool to see, what he does out there with those guys. But yeah, Cummings was a good pick there for the Orlando Sharks.
Yeah, cornerback out of Louisville, definitely. They went
And anything to
receiver
make
and
your-
DB.
Anything to make your life
I know.
harder out there at the in Buffalo is good for me. So
Yeah, talk about Malcolm Cummings and Ed Silva. Those are 2 of the best players at their positions in the draft. Not loving how good the Sharks draft has been
The
so
Mojo
far.
select Troy Brown,
Memphis
corner.
Mojo, who they going?
Okay.
Oh, sure. There you go.
Another corner. All right.
Or I'm very thirsty.
Well, we've been waiting so long for this draft that, there's a thirst in all of us.
The thirst.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Sting, man, this is a team. I can't wait to see what they do.
We
You
almost
know what?
had a
They-
user GM for them.
We almost had 2 user GMs
Yeah.
for them. So
Yeah.
it would have been cool to have that. But they sneak into every promotional video we do for the
They
league.
do.
There's some
They
Sting
do,
graphics.
yeah.
So whoever's doing those promotional graphics is got a little love for the Sting.
Gotta
there.
like the Sting some. And they're a sweet team, they got
The
Sweet as
Sting
honey.
select
As they
There you
Harvey
their pick is
Kidd,
in.
tackle.
nice.
Ah,
Okay.
there you
Getting the
go.
Oklahoma tackle.
Yep.
Oh, now we got Walt Shelby back on the clock here. Who's he gonna get? Somebody to go with Smokey Smith, or they gonna go defense here?
User submitted or user ran team, the Albuquerque Dukes. Ooh, that was a
The
quick
Dukes
pick.
select
Yeah, he knew who he
Clint
wanted.
Snyder,
Oh,
tight end.
There you go.
All 6'7" of him. Jeez.
A's all the way across the board.
Oh,
Boom,
man.
boom, boom. That was a steal in the second.
I
pick there.
didn't think he would last this long. I'll tell you what. I had for my second round grades, I had Josh Price, Cameron Reed, Clint Snyder.
I mean, and I will say there are only a handful of good tight ends in this draft.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I mean,
he was
there's-
by far probably the best.
yeah. There's Clint. Fine, Jonathan Fine.
Yep.
And maybe like one other like pretty decent tight end. Then Higdon. So yeah, maybe like 3 or 4 tight ends that could actually see meaningful snaps. But yeah, Clint Snyder, 6'7", clearly gonna get some.
The
some
Mammoth
ball there.
select Dontrell Hawkins,
pick is in.
tackle.
Okay, the tackle run is going here.
Yep. And to go back to that Albuquerque pick, as Toronto's on the clock here, if any players, we've had a little blitz of user submitted recruits come into the league. But if anyone's watching and listening and you want to make a weapon that is in high demand and high need for college, go make a tight end. There's only one. There's only one. And it's His Excellency Gerald Ford.
That's right, Gerald Ford, who balled out in the All-Star game.
In the All-Star game. He had a great All-Star game.
And he's going to Michigan with Burt Bean, trying to put some talent back in the cupboard there as it's all getting depleted here in the first and second round.
Guys, we haven't seen where he goes yet, but you're losing your halfback.
Nate
Weston,
Carter. That's going to be set. Wow, the tackles really are running now.
Toronto's getting another tackle here.
Wow, and the Blizzard went tackle and tackle.
Yep.
Wow.
Rebuilding their offensive line there. They were not happy, apparently, with that the success or lack thereof. They need some who is their quarterback?
They actually have a little bit of a quarterback controversy brewing. They've got two guys battling it out to take over as quarterback. Neither of them were technically the quarterback last year. You got Kenny Landry, who's 28 years old. He's 5'11". And then you got Nelson Hunter, who's 23 years old. He's 6'5", so about as different QBs as you could get. It's kind of like a Rob Johnson, Doug Flutie from way back in the day, sort of, QB
The
battle.
Sandstorm select Javon Moon, defensive tackle.
That's a good pick there. Javon Moon is a beast of a D tackle. Clearly, the Sandstorm are trying to build up the defense here with Jimmy Black and then Javon Moon.
And then yeah, that's a great pick. Jimmy Black was the Smokey Smith of the linebackers. So, I mean, he was a year one guy, so a lot of guys may not have gotten to see Jimmy Black play. But if you have time, go watch the NC State games from year one. Jimmy Black was, I mean, in all words and adjectives and whatever, he was a monster.
Yeah, give him all the superlatives you want. Throw the bouquets, like he deserves them.
He was the guy. So Jimmy Black, I'm going to be watching some Sandstorm games.
The Crusaders select
Definitely.
Smokey knows. Smokey said he was special.
Corner.
Ooh, Newberry, another good corner.
Their cornerback there for Columbus is.
Yeah. I think Columbus is going to have a sneaky good year. I know they've got some aging talent.
I think they'll make a playoff run.
But yeah, I think there's a chance that Columbus pushes for the playoffs here in a tough Apex North division.
The North is I mean, the North every year is stacked, and they're in every iteration of everything, the North is always the stacked league or stacked division. So it'll be interesting to see what Columbus can do.
Yeah, I mean, the North also has two user GM teams. You got Shaka Caesar and Stein Russian. So, when you take those two teams, and then you got the Railstorm and the Crusaders.
Center.
There goes Josh Alexander. I was going to say that was probably the last, quality. No, I guess there's maybe, two more centers.
There's a couple
probably,
more,
yeah, like starting caliber.
The Lions, did they push deep? Excuse me. Did they push deep into the playoffs? Or
No.
Hmm.
But they do have a good team, and they got a good quarterback with Brett Hahn there. Who's he's got a good arm. He's more of a statue quarterback, but he's got a big arm.
As Baker is on the clock and his picks
select
in. What are the natives going to do?
Oh,
Watson! There you go. That was
McCarthy.
Over Buck McCarthy, over McKinney.
Over McKinney.
Over.
Wow.
He's eluding me right now. The kid from Duke.
Oh, Darren Thomas.
Aaron Thomas, who was a Heisman Trophy finalist.
Yeah. Watson. Okay, we're going to need Clint Baker in the chat to step up and give a little bit of a quick podium diatribe on why Russell Watson here. That's wild. In the second round.
In the second round, Russell Watson, everyone that's watched the last 2 years, they know he's a favorite of mine. I built him.
Select.
He
Harold
was my
Huggins,
submitted quarterback.
linebacker.
So, as the
Harold
other
Huggins
gets picked by the Railstorm.
Brothers from other mothers. There's also a Huggins. The quarterback of the Surf is also a Huggins.
He is. You're right.
It's like
in the
related
college season where there were 20 branches and Bakers at Notre Dame.
We're gonna say that the quarterback Huggins from the Surf and Brad Huggins are brothers. That's what.
There we go. We'll go with that.
But Harold Huggins, no relation, just same name.
He hates him. He hates the other Huggins.
The Hug Bug.
All right, who's up? The Rhinos are up.
I still want Clint Baker to explain in the chat how he arrived on Russell Watson.
He did say welcome to OKC, so Baker is still in chat.
He's
The
here.
Rhinos select
The Rhinos pick is in.
Pat Pierce.
Oh, there goes.
There
the
you go.
speed.
There's the speedster, man. Could you imagine if you got that guy and just put him on the outside? If I remember right, is he tall or is he short? Like, what are his?
Hold on. I'm gonna go back and look here.
While you're looking that up, Baker said dynamic quarterback that can beat you with his arm and tuck and run. Might be a project, but might just be lightning in a bottle as well.
Okay. Pat Pierce is 6'1", 176, so he is slight of build.
So there you go. So Pat Pierce is the taller of the two Southern Miss wide receivers.
But he is
By far the faster.
you can't he literally will never be able to get faster or
The
have
Fury
better
select
burst. There's no
Tyree
other way to say
Crowder,
that.
Tackle.
As Crowder goes for the Fury pick right
Yeah,
there.
they're going line 2. They went with Pete, right, out of Washington in the
Yep.
first round, and Crowder here in the second round. So a lot of teams are kind of going line with their 1 and 2 here.
Anthony Fry and the Tokyo Riot are up on the board again.
Ooh,
they had pick
yeah.
37, and they're up here with 57, 20 picks later.
Oh, we're picking
The
fast.
Riot select David Harrell, defensive line.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. And now Harrell was listed as a D tackle, but he is very underweight for a D tackle. You got to think in the pros.
He's gonna bump him out to the outside,
Yeah, he'll
yeah.
bump out to it, be more of an edge rusher. And he was a straight up pass rush specialist on the interior in college. So
Oh yeah, he played for Oregon. I mean,
Yeah.
they play in the Pac-12.
right,
Light,
light, fast, quick. There's
in
not
our
much-
league-
yeah.
They play in the Pac-12. So I mean, it's a fast-paced, high-octane offense and defense out there. So yeah, congrats, Fry. You got a good guy. Be curious to see what you do with him.
Yeah, David Harrell definitely at 261 pounds projects to an edge.
The Bombers
Bombers
select
pick is
Doug
in.
Haas, safety.
Oh no!
The Ohio State.
Oh,
Doug Haas, the
Why is my
Third.
division drafting so well?
third or so best safety out there.
I don't know. I would have had Haas actually. As much as I love Alan Wake, I would have almost had Haas as number 1, even up there with Levi back. I mean, Haas is just an elite safety. I hate that he went to the Bombers. Oh God, that's awful.
Pittsburgh Prowlers, Shaka Caesar,
Yeah, Shaka Caesar shock us with a pick here.
the user GM.
I think Caesar might be upset that he wasn't able to get Pat Pierce.
Yeah, with the last 27 messages in the
Yeah.
chat, yes. Yes, he's fast.
I mean, literally, he'll never get faster. There's
Yes,
nothing
Smokey,
that could
yeah.
happen in training camp that would allow him. Yeah,
I do love
he
the
does
Buckeye.
love Buckeyes too.
Hey, but I fought the urge to stack them in the college season. I was a good commissioner.
Prowlers
There you go.
select
We
Danny
we
Upshaw,
didn't do
defensive
anything
tackle.
illegal.
Okay, nice pick there.
Upshaw, there you go. That's a good pick.
Upshaw is definitely. Now, was that a need, Caesar? Did Pittsburgh have some weakness at D tackle?
While we're waiting on him to answer, the Crush have their 19th pick of the draft up.
That's
next. As it's honestly probably their 4th or 5th already here in the
I
second
mean,
round.
just an insane amount of picks.
I mean, it's good on him. He and
Crush
the
select.
Dukes have
Frank
quite a few
Spencer,
picks up.
linebacker.
Another linebacker.
Here you go.
Wow. Crush are just stacking this whole
Crushing.
round. Look at that. 33, 41, 60. All linebackers.
Mexico City. So who is in? Let's refresh the league here, the listeners. Who is in Mexico City's division?
So Mexico City is in the Nexus West, I believe. which would put.
While you're looking that up, Shaka Caesar said, "I have 2 old guys. I need to get cheaper and younger."
Nexus West, the
Firebird
Surf, the
select.
Dukes. Oh no, I'm sorry.
Taylor McKinney.
Oh
quarterback.
wow,
There goes McKinney.
wow. And I was wrong. They're the South, Nexus South.
Gotcha.
Mexico, obviously South, and they're going to have Taylor McKinney potentially lining up under center. They are dealing with the Marauders, the Strangers, and the Wildcats. The Firebirds
Wow.
are. So
Yep, there you
that's a
go.
tough division too.
And McKinney, he's like 6'6", 6'5", somewhere in there. He's a lean build.
He's a big dude.
So just like we had a 0 year where we, fast forward to the future to get the draft picks for the Pro League, we had a 0 year for the College League where we skipped up. And in that 0 year, the University
The
of
Reigns
Cincinnati
select,
Bearcats,
Darren
I'll wait
Swain,
till this pick comes
safety.
in.
Swain. Okay.
The Rain picks Swain there. Is that free safety? Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the 0 year, Taylor McKinney and the Cincinnati Bearcats won the national championship against the Buffalo
Insane.
Bulls.
Insane.
So
yeah.
it earned them a promotion in the relegation. They are in the Big Ten now. So
Hey, good for Cincy.
they had
Shaka
a rough year in
says,
the Big Ten.
Shaka says, I really like McKinney. Could be a gem. Well, why didn't you pick him? Because you got
Ooh.
McCord. McCord's a good quarterback. So
Yeah, the Prowlers don't really need a quarterback. It would be one of those shiny things. What do the Surf need
Surf
here?
select.
Let's see what they get.
Marco McDowell. Tackle.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was part of their Achilles heel in the 0 year Rivals Cup championship. The Brawlers pass rush. Greg Looney was just all
The
over
Brawlers
it
select.
and submitted
Steve
our
Andrews.
pick here.
Offensive line.
Got our own O lineman. Steve Andrews, Oklahoma. He just made it to the national championship game, was snapping for Buck McCarthy. We may move him into guard because we have a little bit of a weakness there. But we are here into round 3. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us in the chat. We are cooking.
Real 10 strong. Pretty much started with I saw 10 to 12 at some times. Some floated out, some floated in. So still got some user players that can get drafted and get their +3 to their attributes.
That's right.
So,
That's right. We still have yet to see Buck McCarthy come off the board.
Buck McCarthy could come off the board as the Crush are taking their tick-tock time.
Yeah, they're going to run out of time here. Any surprises for you so far? Anybody really having a standout draft to you?
The Crush, they're having a good draft mainly
Yeah.
because they have so many picks. You
Yeah.
can't go wrong. The Brawlers, you guys in the Brawlers, you have had a boring draft, but it's what you needed.
Yeah, I was going to say it's exactly what the doctor ordered. Hutchinson.
Hutchinson, there
That
you go.
is that's a good pick. Another talented receiver there.
But yeah,
Probably-
I'm not shocked Buck McCarthy hasn't went yet. He'll get drafted, right? But I'm not shocked he hasn't gotten drafted yet.
No?
Anyone that has watched the college season knows that definitely McKinney was better. Watson ahead of him was kind of a shock, but I think that national championship game may have hurt his stock a little bit.
Yeah, you heard Skip on the call. That's going to be hard to come back from when you have
Yeah.
a
5
performance like
interceptions.
that. Yeah. But also not how he played all year. It just sucks that it
Well,
happened
I was
then.
gonna say he's more of a game manager, kind of like what teams need in the pro league as the Strangers get.
Marcus
Marcus
Daniels.
there.
That's a
Marcus
speed
Daniels,
back, right?
yep.
Out of Oregon, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting.
Stein says another missed O line, sniped again, but Hutch will fit perfectly.
There you go.
There's Shaka. That's why I love Shaka, man. Hutchinson, tall guy, good hands, and he has a little wiggle too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was impressed. I was pleasantly impressed by the amount of deep dives that these user GMs did.
Yeah. Kudos
first
to our
year.
user GMs, especially year one's the hardest, right? You're trying to make sense of all the college games we have. You're trying to project a team that you haven't really gotten to see perform that much. Diggs, okay. Probably one of the last quality safeties. Makes sense for him to
Grunger going defense heavy here in the
Yeah.
draft.
I mean, Brandon Smith. That's a great
Man,
pick.
Brandon, I'm excited to see Brandon Smith. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, with that gray and blue uniform, and he just looks mean already.
Yeah.
He's gonna, Brandon Smith's gonna have a hell of a year.
Yeah, I'm definitely
Peaks
excited
are
for
up.
him.
Peaks are kind of having a quiet draft again. One of
They got Turner right from LSU, I think.
yeah, Turner's their big splashy pick, and I don't know that they had a second round pick. I think they.
No, they did. I
Traded
think
it.
they took a tackle.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
And
they
then
took
we
Nick
have-
Rogers, the tackle.
There you go. Their pick is in,
Another safety, Robertson. Okay.
and here's Fry and the Toyota
the Toyota halftime report.
Tokyo Riot. But that's a good episode of Rivals Radio. Is the one about Tony Fry and the
Yeah.
Texas barbecue going
Yeah.
to Tokyo.
That's right. Curious to see what the Riot do here. I mean,
And
they've
he's
gone
running out of
A-
A&M players.
I was
to
gonna
draft,
say they've
so-
gone A&M every pick so far. Are they gonna be able to keep up with the Texas A&M draft stock here?
You can't draft A&M Aggies every play. And A&M, man, that's a team. They might be poised to come back for the Natty again next year.
Maybe.
Make another run there. Banks in the All-Star game, he had some flashes of bad decisions, but then he got on the freaking horse and led that team back in his run there for the All-Star game.
Yeah. Man, Riot taking their time as well here. Come on, Fry, you almost ran out of time. Same like Stein at the top of this round.
Yep.
There you go. See what he's doing here. Ah, okay. Tight end. Out of Vanderbilt, I believe. Adam.
I know he
Daniels.
really wanted Clint Snyder at tight end, so
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like there's a couple guys that I would have had stacked, ranked higher than Adam Daniels if I was going tight end here. But hey, if that's a guy that fits, I don't like when a tight end is like 6'2", 6'3", and for me, Adam Daniels is 6'3", 252. So just not the size I want for my tight
yeah,
ends.
he's
you
more
know?
of a receiving.
Yeah, like an
tight end.
H-back sort of, yeah. Not necessarily going to get the separation or route running that you want.
The
And-
nightmare picks in. They've had a pretty good draft so far.
Okay, Scott Wallace. That's actually a sneaky good pick, I feel like. Scott Wallace is not the fastest, but he's got good size, good hands, right? He's 6'1", 212, UCF, so probably not on everybody's radar as far as scouting. He can catch in traffic. He could almost be like a big slot if you wanted, but he can line up outside too. He just doesn't have that game-breaking speed that you want.
Yeah, and that's what's great about this league is every college has players, so you got to go watch the
Yeah.
stats.
Yeah.
Stats are published, guys, so you got to go watch the stats. Look at the award finalists, award winners.
They're built how they play, right? We
Yep.
talk about that a lot.
There's the hoplites.
Jason Rowland at
Big
linebacker.
Rowland there.
Okay. Yeah, give me just a second here. I got to go submit my pick. Okay.
The hoplites are having a pretty decent draft here. Actually,
Yeah, we picked Clint C.J. Smith, a tight end that we definitely had rated higher than Adam Daniels.
there you go. So here comes the Chicago football department in a non-purple jersey for Shaka Caesar, who in the chat said all the teams that have purple jerseys are the best. There's Buck
and
McCarthy.
There
There
goes
goes Buck McCarthy from Oklahoma.
He did it. Now is he going to be here in the chat to get his +3 boost?
I think this again, based off of the national championship, this stock obviously fell, but this could be a steal in round 3. Pick 73. Was it pick 9 for round 3? So this could be a steal for the Chicago football department.
Now, just jumping back for a second, I want to go back and just quickly touch on the CJ
Congrats,
Smith
Buck.
pick. Congrats, Buck. I want to go back.
He's
to
been in the
CJ
league for
Smith
2
pick.
years, so congrats, Buck.
Hold on, we'll see who the Wildcats take here. Buckley. Oh man.
Good pick.
Yep, because Buckley is, I believe, yet another Michigan offensive line.
Yes.
So back to the CJ Smith pick. I like CJ Smith over Daniels because of the extra bulk. So CJ Smith is like 6'4", 6'5", and he's like 270 pounds, and he's still got great hands. So when you got a guy who's got some of that extra mass, but also can pluck the ball out of the air, and you know, if Buffalo wants to go strong on some run game, you can leave him in there. He's like a sixth offensive lineman. So
Well, what's Buffalo gonna do?
well, I can't get into too much. I can't give away too much.
The Marauders pick is in here.
Hugh Sharper. Okay. Sharper's a defensive end. Maybe a little off the radar for some people. Played at Louisville. He's kind of a more of a 3-4, which fits their defensive scheme. He's 6'6", 290. So he's a
Big
he's
dude.
a mountain of a guy. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not going to make a lot of stat plays. Not going to see him in the box stats a lot, but he'll make an impact. Hoping the Sharks make a horrible pick here. Pick a
I would
kicker
say-
or a punter.
The Sharks need to make a great pick to stay competitive. They're in your division. What did they do last year as their picks in?
Ooh, no!
Connor Bishop.
That guy should have gone like a round ago. What is
Yeah.
going on?
Again, if it wasn't year one draft, he would have went in the first draft.
I mean, yeah, Connor Bishop is another size power rusher.
He's the UCLA guy.
He's 6'6", like 260. He's just a pure power muscle bull rush. You know, he's gonna give us some fits. Damn. Do not love that.
Complete computer generated player too, and he's just a monster of a man.
Yeah, he's good. Dang it.
Mojo.
Mojo on the clock. Where they going with
Have
you?
it open.
Jonathan
Okay.
Fine. There you go. That's another tight end. Those are the two that I had above Adam Daniels, Jonathan Fine and CJ Smith. Fine is definitely your 6'4", 240. But he's actually a bit better known for his run blocking than he
Yeah.
is as a pass catcher.
Sting. Are up next. Look at Mexico City right after them making
Yeah.
some moves to get up out of their normal spot.
Yeah, so there was no trades in the first round this year, which is not the case ever again, but no trades in the first round, and then everything else is up for grabs. So we know that both some user and some CPU GMs were getting crafty.
Yeah, and there were a lot of trades that have happened.
Najee Forbes.
Forbes, there you go.
That's a good pick too. You know, you can never go wrong boosting the lines. You know, Clint Baker's a good example of that, and you know, picking a guy out of Mississippi State that most people probably wouldn't have been looking for. But you know, 6'5", 312. You know, good plug and play guard.
Mexico City does not need a quarterback now, as they
Not
have
anymore.
a defending national champion.
Yeah. Let's see. See what they
McKinney.
do here.
McKinney, I'm excited to see what McKinney can do in that division. So he probably won't start.
You think they go receiver here?
They could get him some weapons. Picks in.
No, going with Paul Short.
There you go.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. Getting offensive line to block. I mean, he's a big guy too, 350 pounds. You know, like
Building for the future.
yeah,
Like I was saying, McKinney's probably not going to start year one. So
Yeah.
he's probably going to sit a couple years behind the starter. And, you know, it'll be interesting to see what they can do. You build for the future. We're all building for the future right now. So
yeah. I mean, it's not just about this first season. You know,
the Mammoth, dude. The Mammoth have a great field and uniform. And
they got great everything, and they got they took Brenton Branch in the first round, and They've just had a good draft so far. See who they're going with here.
Nick is
Oh,
in. There you
another
go.
Michigan guy.
Another Michigan player, Nick Graham.
Nick Graham. That's a really good pick right here. So they got 2 receivers in the first 3 rounds. They clearly are trying to get Andy Lilly some talent around him and see if it's Lilly can be the guy, or if Lilly is just going to hold the job this year. And if he can't get it done, then are they going to have a high pick and what is going to be a rich quarterback class for the draft next year?
That's exactly what I was about to say. You got to think a lot of these teams, you got to wonder how much of it's weighing on their minds and on their draft picks that next year's quarterback picks are extremely rich. So kind of interesting to see. And
Tell us a little bit about next year's quarterback class.
so next year's quarterback class, as the Toronto Blizzard pick is in.
John Rushing.
Yep. So next year's quarterback class, it'll be year 3. God, I can't believe it's year 3 already.
Wild.
But it'll be August-ish, September-ish. It'll be year 3 of the college season. And we have Toby Fortune, North Carolina. God, of course, your mind goes blank when you get called out. But there are 3 or 4.
Noah Roberts.
Noah Roberts at Georgia Tech.
I mean, we don't know for sure these guys are going to be in the draft, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to assume they are. Noah Roberts, I mean, made Georgia Tech noticeable last year.
What do you think?
Toby Fortune in North Carolina, he has recruited the crap out of players.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was just going to say, UNC is going to be so full of user recruits,
they have 6 user recruits right now.
which also almost makes you wonder, does Fortune stay another year, or is he not able to?
No, you can stay. You have to stay a minimum of 2 years, or after that you can go into the draft. So we've
He's not a
discussed,
senior? I wasn't sure what year he was.
No, so all players will be, they're built as a sophomore. So from here on out, everybody's built as a sophomore, and once we're able to edit the class,
Yeah.
you're built as a sophomore, and then you go in, you play your sophomore and junior year, and then you're draft eligible. If you want to come back for your senior year, you have that option. So if Fortune wants to come into the draft next year, as Columbus's pick is in,
Man, a lot of O-line and D-line.
yep, some more offensive line filling some of those trench needs that we need. But yeah, Nikhil Banks. Sorry.
Keel Banks.
That's the chat's getting on me there. But Nikhil Banks at Texas A&M. We got Nikhil Banks,
Yes,
Burt
Nikhil
Bean,
Banks.
Toby Fortune, Reno Hightower will be a new, but he
Yeah.
won't be draft eligible. It's his
Right,
first
first
year.
year.
He'll be at Texas. And then, dude, I mean, there's.
I was going to say
many-
Breedlove. I mean, you got guys who are going to be.
computer guy. There's Breedlove at UCLA. There's Hall or Hill at Bama.
Oh, who was the Illinois quarterback that won the Heisman?
Will Hall from Illinois. He won the Heisman this year as the pick is in for the Crush.
Kenny Britt. Good
Ooh.
pick there.
Back-to-back
the
picks
Crush.
for user GMs here as Stein and Crush make the pick, and now
That's a
Baker and the
great
Natives are
pick.
up. Good pick there by Stein.
Kenny Britt's probably the last starting caliber center in the draft, I think.
Yep.
I wonder if
But
he's
yeah,
going to
I mean-
stay at center or if he's going to move him to the guard.
I believe we looked at it, and there's like 12 to 14 quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. The whole first round is going to be practically quarterbacks,
Yeah.
which is good because the way the league's looking right now, there's a lot of guys that are really starting to get to those mid-30s and are going to be hitting a wall where even if they're better overall rating, they might not be worth holding on to as a starter.
Yeah, and as we bring in more user human GMs,
Yeah.
I mean, a GM, we saw that with, we don't know what we're going to see, with the Crush getting obviously McNamara's probably going to start.
You would think so. Lewis Montana, that's a really good pick right there.
Go watch some Virginia games. That's all I'm going to say.
That guy's like a 260-pound running back.
Go watch. He's a heavier Alvin Thompson
Yeah.
who didn't get the love and didn't have the team around him. Great pick, Baker.
Yeah, really good pick. Wow.
Baker's having a surprising
Yeah, natives are having a very strong draft, and
The
you
natives look so dang cool.
they do look good. You gotta
Their
wonder
uniform
if
looks good.
even some of the user GM teams, like obviously the Crush are going to be fine with McNamara, but with somebody like the natives taking Watson in the second, like, do they re-rack it if there's a better quarterback option available in the draft next year?
Yeah.
Or do they say, hey, we're going to stick with Watson? What if a guy like Breedlove's on the board, or a guy like Nikhil Banks is on the board when the natives have a chance to pick? Are they just going to stay with Watson?
So what do you do? I mean, if you're there, like you guys, you have Frost. What do you do next year if you have the number one, a top 5 draft pick, and Banks is sitting there all fat and juicy, ready to get drafted, and he almost made it to the Natty.
Threw a lot of interceptions in the All-Star game, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say he didn't look great in the back half, but
He threw a lot of touchdowns in it, too.
he did. And you got Banks. The Rhinos pick is in.
Crothers, that is still
Crothers.
another good cornerback to get here in the third.
Teams are starting to dig deep.
Yeah.
Dig their heels in and find some deep picks here. The Fury, their ravenous raccoon, are up next.
It's funny
Philadelphia.
you mentioned Frost, and I'm doing everything I can from a salary cap perspective to try to prepare to re-sign him.
Hmm?
The reality is, with the other guys I want to keep on the team,
Why would you?
I mean, I don't know.
With the draft classes,
I'm not gonna lie. Like, when I look ahead and see the next two years of quarterback draft classes, because even if only half of those guys come out next year, that means the year after is going to be an insane draft class, and Frost has 2 years left on his deal. So if we can't get to the mountaintop in those 2 years, I have to at least consider. I mean, really, in that 1 year, I guess, because I have to consider. Because also imagine what he would net in a trade. Frost,
absolutely.
If Frost got traded, it would be the biggest blockbuster trade our league ever had.
Yeah,
at that
absolutely.
point.
He's definitely the big name right now.
And it could be just really interesting drama for the league too. Again, not looking to get rid of Andrew Frost. He is incredible. I don't know.
He's just going to be expensive.
I don't know that I'll be
Like
able
2
to
or 3 years
afford him.
out. Yeah, you're gonna have that decision.
I mean, I basically have to decide this year, do I want to give him the 5th-year option? And if I do that, then trading him comes with a pretty big hit. If I don't give him the 5th-year option, I have him for 1 less year. I have to make the decision sooner. It's going to keep me up at night. I think we'll just have to see how this season goes. Obviously, Frost is the entrenched starter right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to go. Which, I mean, either I'll get a crazy draft haul, for him.
You'll get a king's ransom.
Yeah, I mean, I bet at least 2 first rounds. I wouldn't be surprised if some team goes crazy and offers first rounds for 3 years.
And it'll be interesting because we've talked about how we've exceeded our expectations for user GMs for year one.
Yeah.
So if we can 1.5 double, 2 times that for year 2, we'll have 12 to 15 human GMs.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to see, because then, they're gonna be like, screw you and Frost, go away with that nonsense. We don't want to trade with you.
Hey, some CPU team will still make an offer.
Somebody will. Go ahead.
I was just getting 2 great receivers just came off the board here.
That's what I was
Odell
gonna say.
Jones and Marco Butler.
Fry and the Riot just took Ronald Jones, and then Marshall Butler came off, and then Bullard went to the Fury while we were talking about that also. And 2 great wide receivers.
Yeah.
And the Albuquerque Dukes are back on the clock.
On the clock.
They took Smokey Smith. They've had a great pick, great draft. I'm really excited to see where Smokey Smith can go.
Mentor. Okay.
There you go.
Interesting. I don't know if he's going to start. I think he's a good developmental prospect here in the 3rd round. I don't know if he's starting caliber or not.
I mean, and you're starting to get into round 3. You're starting to, fill back spots. This is his 7th pick already.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, no, sorry.
It's the Dukes.
This is the Dukes.
Yeah.
Never mind. But you're starting to get into guys, and the Dukes are a good team. They may not have that big of a need right here. Who knows? As the ice pack is up, but the Crush, is coming up with their 3rd pick here.
They've had
And
3 picks in 2nd round and 3rd round.
Yeah. But I mean, it's interesting to see. Like you said, we're blessed It's a good problem to have, having a lot of user guys in the first
awesome.
round.
It's awesome.
Or first draft. Sorry, my back is itching the crap out of me. But and it's cool to see. We will have, I believe, it's 26 user recruits for year 3 of the college season.
Yeah, and that's
Or college
just,
league.
and who knows by the time we're into
Yeah,
that.
another 4 or 5 months. So
Yeah.
the applications are open. We're having 1 or 2 come through as the pick came in for Ice Pack.
Lawrence Gates, another good tight end, probably maybe amongst one of the last guys that could see snaps, year 1. Gaze definitely, a flexible tight end. He can catch it. He's not a great blocker, but he's got good size, 6'6".
Another corner.
Yeah, Mexico City doubling down on quarters now. Now we're back to Stein.
His 7th pick
Jeez.
here in round 3.
Crush might be getting an A draft grade just by pure brute force.
It's like you stand 10 feet away with a shotgun and blast the target. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you did good. You got an A.
If he didn't have a bunch of good picks, there'd be something wrong here.
Yeah. Might have to be like, but who knows?
See where he's going to go.
Picks in by Stein here.
Okay, going with the line again.
Yep. I mean, you've got McNamara. You got to protect him. So
Yeah.
you got to think to the future. You're going to have McNamara for at least 4 years. So Stein and, the Crush, who, by the way, if you haven't seen the Crush's uniforms and helmets, especially I love their away uniform.
Yeah, the
Green
away is,
stickle action.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's crisp. It's cool.
Really,
Sheffield's an interesting pick as a guard. 300 pounds, so not huge, not a big hog volley. Also more of a pass blocker at guard than run blocker. Actually graded out pretty near the bottom of the class from a run block perspective, but near the top of the class in pass block. So interesting pick there. PJ Keys, another good cornerback.
Strangers, you must have swapped here with the Strangers at some point. Or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. So I think part of that trade, when they gave up their 2nd round pick that I used on Cameron Reed, there was some little haggling back and forth, and they got this pick. So I'm all too. But I also have their 2nd rounder next year. So
Gotcha.
worked out pretty well. I'm fine with if you notice, I also had a pick at 72 overall from a different trade. So I was fine giving up 96 because I knew I had 72.
Yeah, and Stein down in the chat said he might make the move to offensive tackle.
Okay, that would make sense. That would make a lot of sense for Sheffield.
Strangers close out round 3.
Pinckney. Okay, that's a
of the
safety.
year 1
Yeah.
draft.
I think the last couple rounds are going to go a little bit faster here. I think they kind of get progressively quicker because we knew that at some point there would be less name recognition, and now we might start just talking a little bit about kind of what's going on and what teams are having interesting draft picks. And Crush again, another pick here. Higdon. That is
Higdon's
probably the end of the tight ends that are worthy.
Yeah, that was a
of
good
playing.
pick. Yeah.
Yeah, Higdon's a good pick right there in the 4th. Yeah, you can see they're starting to go fast now.
Because the Crush only has 1 pick here, right?
Yeah, somehow,
Only
miraculously.
1 pick in the 4th round. The Dukes took their place. They've got quite a few picks here.
Yeah. See, the Marauders and the Bombers also have 2 picks
Yep.
each in this round.
Mexico City also.
Yeah, you can see there. It's interesting. There was not only a lot of trades with user GMs. There was a lot of trades among CPU GMs.
Yep.
Everybody's trying to hopscotch around a little.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the Peaks and the Law do. Don't really know a lot about them from the 0 year and from the off season or whatever. I didn't really follow a lot of their trades or notice if they had any, but
Not a ton for them, no. Stein said he's got to leave some picks for the rest of us.
I just saw that also.
Hewitt, okay. Fry back on the board here. Got 2 user GMs back to back here.
I mean, Fry, I know he was upset. He wanted Smokey.
Yeah.
Not happening. He wanted Buck.
He could have taken him, but he wanted Will Lane. Oh, there's a quarterback. Okay.
There you go. They're in top.
Okay.
A Heisman finalist, by the way. He was number 2 or 3 in the Heisman race.
Yeah,
from
that should
Duke.
be interesting because they signed Ramon Hamilton in free agency
There has
to
been
probably
a
be a
trade.
starter. But I think, does Thomas unseat Ramon Hamilton? They gave him a lot of money, Hamilton.
Yeah.
So curious to know kind of what they do there. Oh, the Dukes trading up and getting James Perkins.
Perkins, good pick. Good pick. The Dukes are having a good draft.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, I'm in love with the Smokey Smith pick. So you got at least a B just from that pick.
And Clint Snyder, that's a day
And
draft.
Clint Snyder,
yeah. Yeah. Okay, getting another corner.
The
Are there any-
Hoplites are definitely focusing on their
Secondary. Yeah.
secondary, yeah. Raheem Gold, Alan Wake.
There's a lot of talented guys still like at playmaker skill positions that I'm surprised have lasted here until the 4th. I'm curious what the Law do, just because they've also got an older quarterback. Do they draft some sort of replacement or backup for Neil Bolden? Oh,
Nate
damn it.
Carter,
Well,
halfback from Michigan.
yeah. Dang.
Not a great halfback, but
Solid though, like just a solid.
he's a Wolverine, so he's kind of sluggish.
He's got speed. He's got vision.
Nah, he's a good
yeah,
runner.
he's a good runner. He's got some good change of direction. He's not gonna plow through guys, but he's got enough twitch and great receiver out of the backfield too.
There you go. So talking about the future draft, there's not a lot of halfbacks.
Yeah,
User submitted recruits, but there is J.C. Johnson at Minnesota of all places.
and there's still Kyler McConnell out at
Yep,
Oklahoma.
Kyler McConnell from Oklahoma. They made it to the Natty, who has put all of his Natty awards, because if you make it to the Natty, you get winning or losing, you get attribute boost. He put everything he had into speed, so it'll be interesting
Nice.
to see what McConnell and the Sooners do for halfback out there. They don't have a quarterback now.
Now
So-
is the Heisman winner? Is he going to transfer? Is that Will Hall? Right.
He is the Heisman winner. I don't know if he's going to transfer or not.
He's going to
as,
stay at Illinois even with relegation.
I mean, well, the thing is, Illinois is not in the Big Ten. Illinois is in, I believe, Conference USA right now.
Okay.
So, which might have been right. That might have been why he had the numbers.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe it was
So maybe he,
playing against
I do-
the JV squad got him the Heisman.
yeah. So I do know. If we want to, talk about it a little bit, I will commit that there was a quarterback from Georgia Southern who led touchdown passes by 20.
Whoa.
He had like 52 touchdown passes,
Whoa.
and the next guy had like 32.
That's crazy.
The team led in every explosive category you could, but they're Georgia Southern, right? They're in
Right.
the Sun Belt.
Right.
So he has he has officially entered the transfer portal.
Oh, speaking of quarterbacks, Marcus Jones just
Marcus
went to the
Jones just
Mojo
came up
there.
board from Notre Dame. And Mojo, the Mojo were mocked to get Smokey in the first
Yeah.
mock. So
I mean,
it'll be
they've got a
interesting to see.
quarterback, but it'll be interesting to see how long do they stick with what's his name?
Whoa,
Zach
The-
Burr.
Pittsburgh Prowlers there with a quick pick.
Ooh, Cole Cross. That is a good pick.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. Right now we have two running backs. Their user submits. I said the transfer portal is going to be interesting because Oklahoma has a vacancy. Ohio
Yeah.
State now has a vacancy. Tommy Thomas is in this draft.
That's
He hasn't
right.
been drafted yet, so it'll be interesting to see where Tommy Thomas goes. He didn't have a great career.
Yeah, it was okay. He's a big guy, but just didn't have a lot to show.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot. I mean, Tootin was there, Smith. So they never really had a run game going in year 2.
Yeah.
The Buckeyes running back was injured all year, so it fell back on the pass game, and it's kind of hard to have a good season when your offense is literally throwing the ball almost every time.
Yeah.
Stein sparing the league. As
So-
the picks are
so
starting
nice
to come
of
in
you.
pretty quick here.
Jose Clements. I'll be honest, I don't even know Clements.
The Blues are getting looks like a tight end there, and
Jeff Warren, yeah.
Mammoth getting some more defensive help.
Clements, I know, went to Georgia, but he was kind of just another
And
guy.
very good. Georgia, McNamara is gone, obviously.
Yeah.
So there's a vacancy at Georgia.
Maybe
so
the Georgia Southern quarterback goes
the
to
Georgia Southern quarterback has his pick basically,
Yeah.
and it will not be my decision. I will say, I've said that before. You know, I run this league and I run these players, especially in depth with the college league, and it'll be interesting to see where he does transfer to. Like I said, Oklahoma's looking pretty enticing out there for him, knowing that Kyler McConnell is going to come back and they have that team to make that run. So Columbus makes a pick there. The Grunge also have picking Jamichael Papers, and Baker's back up with the Natives.
You know, let's see what Baker does here. I mean, he's got a quarterback, he's got a running back, he's got an offensive lineman. He's go D-line here. Curious to see what he does.
Yeah, it's interesting to see too in the upcoming college season.
What?
Another.
What?
What are you doing, Baker?
Okay, that is a head scratcher. Jeff Moore, quarterback out of Virginia.
Who was Montana's quarterback?
That's right. Wow.
I will say, if you haven't seen any of the Virginia games with Montana running the ball, they got a lot of good press in year one. They got some good live game coverage in year one. So go watch some Montana runs as the Marauders pick is in linebacker. St. Louis is back on the clock here. But yeah, next year, man, in year 3 for college, it's North Carolina has 6 recruits.
Yeah, they are stacked.
Texas A&M has like 4.
They're stacked.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tar Heels by.
Sean Espinosa. I'm not going to
Espinosa.
lie. That's a guy that I had on my board, and I definitely did not think he would be gone here in the 4th round. I thought the UCF quarterback would be hanging out somewhere in like the 5th and 6th round. I thought I'd have a chance at him.
He's another good quarterback that you should go back and watch his career.
Yeah.
He has a handful of televised games.
And he's got you know, he's not a burner speed-wise, but he's got enough speed where he can kind of get out of the pocket. He's not the most accurate, but he can throw on the run. He can throw under pressure. You know, he's got some mobility, and, you know, 6'3", 216. So good size.
The mob pick is in.
Yeah, going O-line.
Yeah, so round 4 here, like you said, we're gonna start seeing some some good picks. You know, some gems that are dug, buried, and then we'll see some names we don't know. So it's interesting to see these teams dig in and start making some picks. We have at 123 right there, we have Albuquerque Dukes and Walt Shelby, the user GM, to see what they do out there at Albuquerque.
Jelani Martin. Okay, it's a pretty good pick for the Bombers. I wish they got somebody. Well, I guess I was gonna say wish they got somebody more recognizable. Actually, I'm glad they got somebody I don't recognize as well. He's out of Auburn, I believe. A little undersized, 6 feet 220 linebacker.
And what's interesting about that? You bring up Auburn. So when McNamara was transferring from A&M to make room for Banks and the Aggies, McNamara was going between his 2 choices when he was transferring. He announced were Auburn and Georgia.
Oh, interesting.
Imagine if he would have went to Auburn. That would have been.
Yeah,
Would his stock would have fallen,
right.
or would it have gone Cam Newton style and
Yeah, it's gone
exploded?
nuclear, right. What are the Dukes doing here? They're letting the clock. There we go. Letting it tick out. Anthony Davis going safety here. Okay.
Getting some help on the other side.
That's the safety out of Washington, I believe.
I believe, yes. Our cheat sheet's gone from the
Yeah.
pop-up now. Anchorage with another pick here.
If anybody knows Raheem Gold's username, I was going to drop his social trading card in the chat, but I don't know what his username is in Discord. There goes Tommy Thomas.
There goes Tommy Thomas going up to the frozen, the frozen tundra. Do they play outdoors?
They do, yeah. There's only a handful of indoor teams in the league.
Good, I hate it.
Although I will say with the team builder, there's very little snow and a lot of rain. So hopefully that's something we'll get fixed in the next season or two. But, you know, if you consider the time of year that our league takes place, makes sense there wouldn't be a ton of snow, right? So
Correct. Mexico City with another pick.
Geddes, another safety. Okay.
I feel like the Reign have had a quiet draft also. Kind of
No! That was the next name on my board. Marlon Brown, running back out of Buffalo. He's a power back.
He was a national championship
yeah.
competing running
Yeah,
back.
he's really good. That is an exceptionally sneaky good pick by the Reign right here. And he's going to go immediately play for one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
So, dang.
The Surf get here.
Quan Duke.
Good. And the Surf, they don't need a lot of help, right? They made it to the Rivals Cup.
Yeah, they got a
They
lot
made
of...
it to the Rivals Cup. They're ready to just reload and fire away again.
I think their biggest long-term issue is that their quarterback, Huggins, is starting to get old. Surprised they haven't taken anybody here as some sort of groomed replacement.
I think, man, it's going to be awesome. I think we could see Banks playing.
Oh, man.
Banks or Fortune or one of the.
That'd be
we could
crazy.
see one of the Burt Bean if he comes
Playing
out
for
for the
Honolulu,
draft.
yeah.
We could see a Honolulu quarterback next year be a rookie. Who did the Bombers get? There you go.
Higgins, okay.
Higgins, Huggins, Haggins. We're all up in here. Round 5. Pick one.
Canton back on the clock. There we go. We're going to go fast now, I think. Okay, Goodwin. Goodwin's a linebacker out of Wake Forest. 6'3", 250. He's got some good size. Clearly, the Crush is just rebuilding their linebacker room.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the third or fourth linebacker they've taken so far. Stranger's in. The Grunger in. The Grunge I've actually been impressed with the Grunge.
Really good draft for the Grunge. Really good draft.
Peaks. I'll have to go back and look at what all the Peaks have done also, but they've had a good one too. There you go. The Wildcats are up. You know, they did not have a pick last round, I believe.
Yeah, maybe they didn't. Yeah, we were.
And then they're out of their normal position, so Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones.
Not the Jerry
Yeah, not the Jerry Jones.
As the nightmare picks here, Crowder. Yeah, you can see these the timers start ticking here on the picks. Stein has updated us and let us know that was pick number 8. And he's up right now for pick number 9 as the Law takes Adam Lewis. You know, Smokey Smith really feeling the draft process. Thanks, man. This was 2 years in the making. Couldn't have done it without Baxter. Give him his props. I'll give him his little. But
Thank you.
he has earned the Chief Creative Officer title. So.
Speaking of which, we are dropping the social trading cards in the Discord chat. So if you're watching this and you're not part of the Discord community, there's even more cool stuff that happens not on the YouTube stream. I know you see everybody chatting in here, which is awesome. Thank you guys for hanging out and chatting with us, but we're always trying to share a little more, a little extra. So those user recruits that are getting drafted get their own commemorative social trading card, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and they're pretty damn cool looking. You did a good job on those. Those are awesome.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
I showed
Mac King. I love that a user GM took Matt King. There's some deep history for Matt King.
Yeah, the crush there with the 5'10", 5'11", 299.
Yeah. Sub 6 feet, 300-pound quarterback.
But he's got wheels.
Yeah.
Quarterback from Nebraska. He who knows? He might beat McNamara out. Who knows?
We'll see. I'm still surprised that that other 300-pound quarterback ended up being a backup. He signed with the Wildcats, right? The old nightmare Tucker.
Tucker. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey,
Rashad Day.
Cam Reed is in the chat.
Get out, Cam
He's
Reed.
alive.
Cam Reed, you are in the chat. You are a brawler. Congrats. You just check out the Discord. You just got your card. You also, by showing up in the chat, got a plus 3-point boost to your rating. Go Brawlers!
I was about to say, and Baxter's being annoyingly excited because
I had no
drafted
idea he was
you.
going to show up. That's great.
Yeah, welcome back, Reed.
Stoked to have
Anybody
you,
that
man.
doesn't know, Reed actually was you 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, he was going to help build this league, and life happens, right? So,
Hey.
congratulations. Thanks, Reed, to come back.
Hey, and you made it to a great team. You're going to be a stud in this league, man. Perfect time to come back because you are going to be the future at the receiver position in Buffalo.
Oh, Lord.
Low key, that's maybe my favorite draft pick. And now that he showed up, like I am stoked.
Yeah, it's cool to see. That's what I love about this league, man. You had no idea he was going to show up.
No, not at
I
all.
will say I've been annoying the crap out of him I didn't know he was going to show up either. I've been annoying the crap out of him the last week, especially. So, as how many we have a user team picking right now, and they
That's right. Oh, French. Okay.
there you go. And go back, the Prowlers picked also Rashad Day.
Rashad Day, yeah, that's a good pick for the Prowlers. I know that just secondary depth is a concern for them, so getting somebody there in the 5th round, that's a smart move.
If you haven't watched the beginning of the draft, obviously stick around for right now, but after it's over, go back and watch the first 3 minutes and see.
Watch the intro.
Dude, the intro video, I might be cheesy or lame or whatever. I know I am. But, dude, the first time I watched the intro video, the teaser, I got goosebumps. I mean,
You got John Hamm doing the voiceover,
like I said, doing all the, all the work paying off is pretty dang cool.
Oh, Todd Coleman, dang it. That's another back a power back.
The Dukes are back up again.
Brett
Here
Owens,
with,
geez, all the backs that I had on my border. Dukes, don't pick my guy here.
Yeah, it's going to be skill position heavy on the back end here. All the linemen and linebackers are gone.
Shelby, don't take my guy. Oh, Shelby. Well, since I already knew who I had after that, I just, auto-picked there, Chad Bryson. We'll see if he even makes the cut. I mean, at this point, you're looking at a mix of guys that here in the 5th round, these guys could be anywhere from depth to a surprise starter to a complete training camp cut. So, this is kind of the real interesting point of the draft to figure out which of these guys are going to have careers in this league and which of these guys aren't even going to make it to, their first season.
Yep, Stein's got another pick coming up here after the surf. I believe that's his 10th pick, 9th pick. We get there. Okay. Congratulations, Stein. I think that is round 6, guys. We're getting into round 6 now. Let's see. 2 more rounds to go. 64 picks as we have the Fury taking a linebacker to kick off round 6 or round 6 pick. Strangers have had a strange draft. I mean, from their
Incredibly strange. That Sean Smith pick is still insane.
they have lived up to their name, man. As that first pick was no fraternizing with your draft picks right now, Baxter. You need to leave Creed alone.
No, I'm talking to Stein. Stein wants a Jimmy McNamara social trading card. Technically, they're only supposed to be for user recruits, but
I'm telling you, man, you got to give it for the first round.
I may have to for at least Jimmy McNamara. He's the number 1 overall pick, so that's what I was just telling Stein.
We used the ghost image for the
That's
social
true.
medias today.
Now we can post some of these real ones now that they're happening.
Yeah. So you see the drafts as the Sharks take 2 picks there in the last couple.
Yeah, fortunately, I'm not super worried about either of those guys.
The Chicago football department comes up and takes a middle linebacker. So you got to think. What's your thoughts on Buck McCarthy going to Chicago?
You know, it's interesting because they've got a decent stopgap quarterback as a bridge there. They got Leon Colvin, but is Buck gonna start over him? I mean, is Buck in the chat? I haven't seen Buck show up yet, so that +3 boost for him could literally be the difference between starting and and watching Leon Colvin.
So that's another quarterback. Speaking of Buck, that will be in the draft next year is Kyler Knight.
Yeah.
From Ole Miss. That'll be another interesting quarterback. Buck and Knight are friends.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
As the Crush takes an offensive lineman there, and that was round 6. Did you see? We're stroking now here to get through this. We wanted to bring you guys the slower picks at the front of the draft. Give you kind of a presentation. The way it kind of has been flowing as the Dukes take a guy there. Peaks are up. The Dukes have quite a few picks, a couple picks here. The Crush only have 1. As the Crush, I will say Stein's one concern in the trade blocks.
He wanted
to finish the draft out.
He was asking for it originally, and I think I'd already traded away, so I had to tell him, like, yeah, you got to go talk to this team because they have Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, he messaged me. He was like, hey, who's got the last pick? And I was like, it's not Baxter. I know that. He traded it away.
Yeah,
so.
I got rid of it. Well, guys, this has been a real treat. Thank you all. We've had amazing support here in the chat. You guys have just continued to throttle it the whole time. I mean, just awesome to see all this conversation. Great year coming up ahead. There's so much cool stuff to look forward to. And, we're not, just as a reminder, we're going to not have a preseason. We're going to have some recap highlights from the preseason. But the very first game of the season, I believe, is actually a Brawlers game, a primetime game. Hey, defending 0-year champs, but we'll have Skip Lloyd on the call. It's going to be a great season. A lot to look forward to.
Yeah, and it's going to be just like the college league. So if you get a night game in the game, you're going to have a primetime game.
There you go.
If you don't, it's probably going to be a daytime game.
Yeah.
We're going to try to follow the same logic, same system that we did in the college season. So, if you're winning, you're going to get a higher view spot game. Still try to get some love to the lower bracket teams, but if you don't have a Monday Night Football game, you're probably not getting a night game during the broadcast. You're not going to get a Skip Lloyd called
That's
game.
Right. That's the real difference, right? Is you get Skip Lloyd or you get the Madden commentary teams.
Mr.
And there we go.
Aaron
Thomas.
There you go. Good job, Stein.
Well, look, you guys have done an incredible job hanging out here with us for an hour and 45 minutes. We will not keep you guys any longer. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out. Anything before we sign off, Commissioner Back?
No, man, this has been a great experience, great draft. You did a great job with the presentation. Thank you to all the GMs and all the players for coming out, showing out, and getting your bonuses.
That's right. Time to go pro, guys. Let's go.
The Pro League is here.
It's on. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, peace.
Great draft.